Hello everyone and welcome to another Dark Souls 3 invasion build video. This is a character I have had on the back burner for a very long time. For all my invasion characters I have pretty much the entire level range covered all the way from soul level 10 up to soul level 125. However, I didn't have one. I have one at soul level 30 and then the next one jumps up to soul level 60, so I didn't have an in-between one. So this is where this guy comes in. He is called Sellsword Utan, and he is a dex-lord. He disappoints Daddy in almost every respect, but he is bad fucking ass. I tried to make this character as versatile as possible to deal with both 1v1 tryhard dueling and invasions, and I'm happy to report this setup is a fucking boss at both of them. So let me show you what I'm running. For my weapons, I'm maining the Hollow Slayer Greatsword +2, which is equivalent to a +4 weapon. Which you can two-hand to get that, sweet Hollow Slayer hyper armor. On my left hand, I've got the Sharp Lothric Longsword, which is this in combination with the Hollow Slayer is fantastic for mix-ups. I'm really enjoying these dual wield builds. I mean, they're fantastic because it means you can be versatile in both 1v1s and multi-man invasions. Absolutely fantastic. Of course, I've got a nice little light crossbow I can bust out. To do some sweet harassment and surprise people with those exploding bolts. I can't tell you how many sort of 1v1s and sort of situations where this crossbow has been completely invaluable. It's fantastic. Everyone should have a crossbow. As for rings, I've got Prisoner's Chain, FAP +3, of course, the Hunter's Ring, which I'm keeping on pretty much permanently, and the Karthus Milk Ring, which it gives you 3 extra dex and obscures your rolling. The milk ring is completely optional for this build because it only gives you 3 extra dex, which is probably equivalent to about 6-7 points of AR for both weapons. So it's not it's a nice to have, but it's not a necessity. So you can swap that out to whatever you want, Hornet if you were going for parries and Night Slayer and all that stuff. But I'm just using it at the moment just to push my damage up as much as possible. For the fashion, the most important part of any build, I've got the Ragged Mask, Fallen Knight Armour. I'll tell you what, without the helmet, the Fallen Knight Armour is pretty sweet, I must admit. Alpha Gauntlets, because it's got a decent poise to weight ratio, and the Knight Leggings. Kind of going for a sellsword aesthetic. Someone who, travels the lands and sells his wares, fighting for people, fighting for money. For the stats, I tinkered around with various iterations of the stats trying to optimise my damage, and I've found this is kind of an interesting sort of a nice middle ground. So I've got 29 Vigour, which has been bumped up by the Prisoner's Chain. I went for the Mercenary starting class, obviously. I've got 23 Endurance and 15 Vitality, base Vitality, which has been bumped up by the Prisoner's Chain again. Dexterity, which is bumped up by the Milk Ring, and the Karthus Ring is currently sitting at 35, which is a good amount of damage. I know the soft cap is 40, but the damage jump from 35 to 40, I didn't see it as worth it. I didn't want to sacrifice any of my other stats in order to get to that soft cap, because you get about 12-15 points of AR for going up to Dex 40, so I didn't see that as worth it. And I've got base Intelligence, Faith and Luck, which is not what I'm interested in. For soft swapping, or hard swaps, sorry. I've also got the Sharp Restorer Greatsword, which I'll swap out the Hollow Slayer for if I need that bit of hyper armor. If I'm going up against something like a halberd or a glaive, I always have problems fighting glaives. Like I fought this guy one-on-one who was using the split leaf down in the catacombs of Karthus. I got rid of his phantom, and he just absolutely schooled me with the glaive. I just can't get in on it, and I didn't have the hyper armor from the Hollow Slayer in order to just plough right through his damage, so he absolutely wrecked me. So that's why I put the Sharp Restorer Greatsword on there, and it gets really good returns from a Sharp Infusion. Really good. And it looks stylish as fuck, and it's lightweight. I've got Deep Karthus Showtail as well. I've got it deep infused so I can get that little bit of extra chip damage through turtles. I haven't had to use it so far in the invasions I have done. But it's one of my favourite curve swords. It looks cool as shit. And I've also got Dart Drift, which is, I think it's one of the lightest katanas actually. Makes sense since it's nearly invisible, so I just swapped that for once I'm running R1 pokies. I've had this be quite useful in situations. I might swap out, since I'm not going to be having this available to soft swap. It's not going to take up a quick burden. I might go for the Uchi since it's a little bit longer. I'll probably get a little bit more damage out of it since you can infuse it. Only Slay Great Bow, you know, the dex-lord Great Bow, and I've got a couple of shields which I can swap to if I need to parry or if I need to go 100% block. Right. Excellent. So that's the build. Since we're really getting close to Dark Souls Remastered, this is probably going to be the last new build I ever do for Dark Souls 3, at least for the foreseeable future. But I really want to finish this guy off. And just on a side note, I'm sorry I haven't done any Victory Lap episodes recently. I've got something special in the works, and I'm hoping to have the next episode of Victory Lap out by next weekend. So I hope you all tune in for that. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the invasions, and yeah, have a wonderful time. So, for our first invasion, we're down here in the Demon Ruins, and we come across a sad ganker, as Saint Wright would say. And a sad ganker is someone who ganks with an NPC phantom, and in this case he has Sorig with him. Poor Sorig. I've been watching a lot of Chase the Bro videos, and he does a lot of stuff down in the Demon Ruins, and poor old Sorig gets it so bad. Because he doesn't heal. If you're going to sad gank, don't sad gank with Sorig, because he might have the huge health pool that all NPC phantoms do, but he doesn't heal. So, like, once he's down to low health, that's it. So, what I assume is happening here, he's sitting around with Sorig, and he's waiting for his password summon friend to be available for him to summon. And he's using Sorig as a distraction to keep me away, so he can summon his friend in peace. So I'm taking this opportunity just to wear Sorig down, to be honest. We have a dry finger active, and a blue has arrived, and there will be a second blue that turns up as well. Yep, here's blue number 1. The other blue never turns up, and he ends up dying off screen, much to my good fortune. So yeah, just trying to wear down Sorig as much as I can whilst there was no phantoms available. But now the blue's involved, the host doesn't seem interested in helping the blue in any way. So I drag him away, get that sweet Hollow Slayer hyper armor. I mean, it's a I quite enjoy the 200 moveset on the Hollow Slayer and the Drake Blood, but I much prefer the basic up and down string of like the Claymore or the Bastard Sword. I feel it has more range as well, the Claymore and Bastard Sword. I mean, I know. I guess it depends on the length of the actual sword itself, but I feel that the moveset gives it a little bit more range than, say, something like the Hollow Slayer. I guess I'm just out of practice, really. This is the first time I've properly sat down and used the Hollow Slayer for PvP, so it's something I'm still getting used to. Poor Sorig. He gets it so bad. So now Mr. Sad Ganker needs to go back to the bonfire and summon his friend in. Oh, he's already here. Interesting build. We've got an Ornstein with 2 straight swords. I think that's a Lothric Knight in one hand and the Dark Sword in the other hand. It's an odd combination. This isn't Dark Souls 2. You can't power stance those. I mean, the whole point of sort of the dual wielding 2 weapons thing is that you can mix up the movesets. Throw off people's timing so they can't ever get used to what you're going to do next. But so just equipping 2 different straight swords is just sort of, I don't know, rather pointless really. But you know, whatever works for you. It's not my build. So now they've got the big nasty Gru involved, and keep them distracted, do some good damage to them. And then poor old Ornstein gets caught up in the Hollow Slayer. So goodbye Ornstein. And so unfortunately now for this host he's got all the enemies involved now. And I'll go give him the straight sword hell. So GG. So onwards and upwards, we're still up in Smouldering Lake and the Demon Ruins. This was this was an interesting set of fights. I run across this guy, and he set out these prism stones in a circle, as if to indicate he wants invaders to fight the blues that he's summoning in. and I wanted some practice 1v1ing with this setup, so I instead of just saying fuck it and going straight for the host, I decided to play along, and I'm like, alright, okay, I'll duel these blues and see how I do. I tell you what, whilst I was making this build, just before I'd finished this build, I got invaded when I was in Pontiff, and I got invaded by someone who actually knew my videos, and he messaged me after the fight saying, you know, GG, I like your videos and stuff, which was really nice. And we ended up having a few duels later on. I ended up, like, an hour later, after I'd finished off at Pontiff and everything, I invaded him down here in the Demon Ruins, and we had another good fight there. And yeah, like I said, we ended up sort of having a few more duels at Pontiff. We messaged each other. He was really good. He used a scimitar, and he also had the Saint's Bident, which are, you know, fantastic weapons for dueling. And this build was its mix-up potential between the Hollow Slayer and the Straight Sword was excellent, and this build performs really well in those kind of try-hard settings. I might upload some of those clips later. I can't remember the guy's name. I think it's like GP Dubs or something. So if you're watching this, mate, GG, those were really fun duels. So anyway, yes, I've disposed of the Dark Moon, and now we've got the Blue Sentinel coming in. Both of which have rapiers or S-stalks. Very interesting. So yeah, I've been going for this sort of. It's not a true combo or anything. It's you go R1, L1, L1, sorry, L2, L2 to do 2 straight sword hits, and then you do R2 with the Hollow Slayer, which is the poke, and it doesn't catch people who panic roll. This is one of those weird instances where if I was doing R1, R1, R2 with the straight sword, it would GG Blue, it would catch people who panic roll, whereas the L2, L2, R2 with this combination will catch people who aren't panic rolling and who sort of they're anticipating the R1, R1, R2 of the straight sword, so that can catch them quite reliably. So now I've dealt with the blues, and he was sort of congratulating me and memeing on me. I'm like, all right, let's just do this. I don't want to sit here all day and wait for blues to show up. Let's just fucking let's do this. Yeah, trying to put in those crossbow mix-ups as well, so when they're at a range. I mean, like, the crossbow is fantastic, but in 1v1s there's such an easy counter for it. Is like you literally just strafe, unless the person is free aiming exploding bolts, which then you have to be a little bit more careful. As long as you're strafing, the crossbow bolts won't hit you. It's only if you're standing still and in the middle of it, sort of locked in an animation or an attack or something like that. For example, he was still in his recovery frame, so I got him with the bolt. And it's good for combating passive play as well. If you whiff and they go in to attack you, you can quickly whip out the crossbow and get them with a bolt before they can start their attack animation. Didn't mean to jump there. So yeah, the mix-up potential with these builds is absolutely phenomenal, because they don't know what to expect, whether you're going to go for the straight sword or spam, or the slightly slower great sword spam, which is fantastic. I mean, I've done these kinds of builds before. I know Sol level 90, my big strength guy, has something similar with the great sword and the hand axe. GG man, crossbow finish man. Like I said, stop them chugs when you can. Right, so this we're back up at the Cathedral of the Deep now, one of my favourite places to invade at this level. This was just a 1v1, I believe. Yes, it was. So I got the obscuring ring on, and I've specifically got the Only Slayer Great Bow. I don't know if I have the stats for the Millwood. I'm pretty sure I don't. So I have to do with the Only Slayer. I mean, it's got the overdraw weapon art. But it's nowhere near as good as the Millwood Knight one, unfortunately. So I give him a little pot shot to let him know, hey, this is an invasion. I'm not here to, you know, I don't really want to sit and duel you. So he's got I think that's the Cell Sword Wind Blades. Loving those L1s. Go to the two-handed moveset, so I can hyper armor through his L1s. Oh, caught some. That's great. You don't want to roll. You need to roll if you're up against a two-handed Hollow Slayer. You roll away. You do not roll try and roll through the Hollow Slayer. It's fucking suicide. You see that quick crossbow finish to prevent the chug. So GG, my man. So still up at the Cathedral of the Deep. This one was an absolute doozy. This was a proper good old-fashioned Ganks Bank. It was one of those really frustrating ones where we have a wizard as well as two melee characters, and that's always a pig to fight no matter what sort of level you're at. And because I don't think he has the dried finger active, it's just me here. I can't. There's no hope of any backup coming. So this gold was fairly competent PvP. He understood the benefits of the mace and perseverance. He knew when to use it, and he knew about the roll catch potential of the mace, which was very good to see. So it's a fantastic weapon, man. And unfortunately, when you see a lot of PvE players using their mace, they don't take advantage of perseverance or sort of the ability to roll catch. He's going for force there. I'm not sure. Maybe just, you know, he had it equipped, so why the fuck not? But it looks like you can see like the Phantom and the host are just letting me take this guy to town. I mean, this gold is good, and I imagine if he didn't have all those zombies hitting him, he could have put up more of a fight. But like the host, the Phantom did absolutely nothing to help him, which was really rather stupid because they could have just rushed the door and pushed me back. So he comes into this game now. Sort of, they will refuse to come up to the choke point. And so it's my job to pressure them, and when you're dealing with a melee guy and someone who's flinging spells around, that's a pain in the arse. And we see now Blue has been summoned in, and he is also a caster, so that just makes things a million times more annoying. So we go to this tactic. So you want to fling projectiles at me, you get the exploding bolts to your face, and because wizards are nice and squishy, the exploding bolts do a nice chunk of their health. They're just standing there and taking it, and I see the white has tapped out, he hasn't healed, and he's hiding behind his obelisk. So quickly go two-handed, fumble with my controls, and get to take him out from long range. So fuck you, Mr. Wizard. So now it's just the two of them, and it's still an uphill struggle, obviously, because we still have a caster and a melee guy, and so I'm just trying to hold this choke point so I can sort of funnel them one by one, so their spells can't get me whilst I'm attacking the host. So now another blue's been summoned, and a little bit of good fortune that he is AFK. He doesn't contribute anything to this fight. However, I'm still concerned about if he does wake up and if he does join in the fight, this could be turn the tide for them. So go up to my sniper spot with the Obscuring Ring and Only Slayer, and I try and do some damage and try and take him out from range instead of me going down there and trying to swing on him whilst I've got those two dickheads trying to deal with me. Unfortunately, I see them coming up the stairs, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to get away from this and, you know, concentrate on these guys. They're the more pressing threat at the moment. So this choke point is fantastic. If you I mean, the zombies are crap. Don't get me wrong, GG Blue. The zombies are crap, but they're good at blocking up the way, and you can really get someone in a blender if they're stuck between zombies and stuff. So I dealt with the Blade of the Dark Moon, and the other Blue Sentinel's gone home. So he ends up getting roll caught with the Lothranite sword. So GG, my man. Stop using wizards in your ganks, for fuck's sake. So now back in the catacombs of Karthus. This was an interesting fight, actually. I'm guessing that this was either a stream or a big group of people who wanted to play together, because all of the summons all of the people were password summoned, including all the invaders, like the red spirit and a pink spirit, and they were all password summoned. And from the looks of the character's name of the host, I presume this guy was a streamer or something. But this was excellent fun. So I got them on the bridge there. There's the other invaders on the other side, and I'm on this side. So I've caught them between this two, sort of in the middle of the bridge. So I'm just trying to keep them at bay with crossbow bolts and the straight sword spam. So when they push me off the bridge, I go and try and rejoin the rest of the invaders. Not before I get some nice crossbow damage on these guys. You can see the host is free aiming his bombs here, so if he wants to sit there and free aim, you can take 3 exploding bolts to the face for it. Narrowly misses me with the pain train though. It's like there's so many fucking people here. Absolutely hellish. It would have fun as hell. Go for those parries, man. So GG. That was good fun. I don't know if they expected some random to come in and kill their host, but that was good fun. So back here at the Cathedral of the Deep, what would any invasion montage video be without password summon over level phantoms with the ring knight up prepared greatswords? It's almost mandatory at this point. This was a very fun invasion. It was one of those ones where I felt like I was constantly on the back foot and I was sort of fighting for every inch of ground. These guys, although they might not be completely PvP, you know, meta, they obviously understood this game and their mechanics. As you can see now, the host is used to see them. He saw me run from mob of enemies, he's a distraction, and he's used to see them, which is very clever of him. Gold almost gets fucking decimated there, and he's got undead hunter charms, so I'm desperately trying to chase him down. The host comes and provides him backup, which is very frustrating. So I go over to the crossbow to see if I can get him from range. I think there was just a tiny bit of latency between myself and the gold, and I wasn't able to finish him off. You'll see it here in a second. He goes for the chug, the crossbow hits him just before the Estus touches his lips, but that tiny split second of latency meant he got the chug off, which was unfortunate. So now back on the back foot again. I know that the seed is going to wear off soon. God, that nerf to the seed was such a fucking godsend. It's so good. So the seed's gone now, but unfortunately we have the blue to try and contend with as well. So nothing I can do here. Retreat, full retreat. Go over to obscuring, and I try and set a little ambush up here. I'm trying to remember my ambushes and stuff. I mean, it's all very good fighting people straight up in a 1v1 or, you know, 3v1 in this instance, but it's the little ambushes that can make all the difference. So I go over to the Only Slayer. I've got the obscuring ring on, and my thought was I'll wait for them to attack something and I'll get them with the bow. But unfortunately, you know, best laid plans always turn to shit. So I missed with the Only Slayer because it doesn't have the Millwood great bow weapon art. I can't get that sweet explosive damage. Might have to have a look and see if I can actually use the Millwood. That might be a lot more useful than the Only Slayer, even if I get slightly less damage. So it's just a case now. They know where I am. It's just a case of doing another full retreat, and there's a big mob of enemies here. This little crossbow trap could be quite nasty. As this blue found out. You don't want to stand still in this area. Those crossbow guys can do some damage. And Goldilocks falls down. So I'm a little too close to him when he goes through his L1, so I'm not able to go past him. He sort of stun locks me, but unfortunately, or fortunately for me, the PvE managed to do my job for me. God, that weapon is annoying. Almost as much as the meme swords. I don't know if... I think I prefer the Ring Knight Ultra Peg swords, Ring Knight Ultra Peg Great Swords over the meme swords. I'm not quite sure yet. So I've gone to the Katana here because I was expecting him to run away, but he doesn't. He stands his ground. So good for you, host. And the great thing about this build as well is I can go sword and board. If I have enough room to do my menu swaps, I can just go sword and board. And at this point I'm thinking, right, I know he's got way of blue equipped, and I don't want to hang around for any more phantoms to show off. So if I just go straight sword, I know I can finish this guy off quickly. So GG, my man. I was pretty salty when I was doing these invasions, because I had a few where I got absolutely decimated and left me a little bit salty, so there was a lot of point downs and poo throwing when I did win, so I'm sorry. That's rather childish of me, I know. So to finish up on, we got another Ganks Bank in the chapel of the Cathedral team. This was excellent fun because I had an invader partner here who was very, very good. He was one of those excellent people to fight alongside because he didn't get in the way. He used an appropriate weapon selection, and he pulled his own weight. And those kinds of people are just excellent fun to invade with. So whoever you were, invader bro, G fucking G. So the host is getting a squad together, and I'm trying to harass them as much as I can with the great bow and a crossbow, just trying to do little bits of damage when I can, because I know eventually they're going to storm out of here and try and steamroll me. So as much damage and Estus I can deplete at this point is vital. Try and set another little ambush out here, but they managed to roll through it. So now the squad starts leaking out the door. And the thing is here, they keep themselves quite spread out. These guys, although they were large in number, they were pretty timid as far as gangs go. So me and my invader friend here, very good use of the storyteller staff there. Sorry for the crossbow bolt, that was an accident. So we got this choke point here, which is really, really good. So the storyteller's staff weapon art is a great choice. Front of the poison mist here, and you see something great what he's doing there. He's using me as a distraction at the choke point, so he can go around and fire millward shots at them, which is absolutely fantastic. That's a great idea, that is. So yeah, they're too scared to come through this choke point, which is crazy because there's 4 of them. So they could like all barrel through here and do some serious damage, and just push us back completely. I mean, from what I saw of the invader, he had quite a good build and he knew what he was doing, but his vigor was pretty low, so he had really good damage output, but he didn't have a lot of survivability. So if they just pushed through the choke point, the choke point, there would be nothing we could have done about it. So going for those pokies for the door. I'll tell you what, I'm loving this Astora's ultra great sword. Absolutely fantastic. Great addition to any dex-lord. Oh, look at that. Gets an R2 and a millward shot to the face. Yeah, those pokies, man. So good. The host is being quite brave at this. Take note here, the host at this point, whilst he's got phantoms, is being incredibly brave. His name is Hercules, you know, the hero of old who's known for his bravery and camaraderie and, you know, fighting with, you know, evil nasties. So he's being very brave and he's living up to the Hercules name. But we'll see what happens later in the fight. See, again, like they're dealing with the mobs, so storyteller staff weapon art, fantastic. I love this invader, man. He was so good. Just pushing them back with a crossbow. It's fantastic. See, they're coming in sort of 1v1, sort of one at a time. And that's 2 of us. That's terrible idea. And look at that, fucking splatted with the dragon's flame. So that's fantastic, and I managed to get a quick kill on that gold. So now it's just 2v2. So I run past this guy, and I know there's another phantom hanging around at the back. I didn't know that was the host at that point, and I was like, right, I need to go and hang by the bonfire room because I know the host is going to want to resummon. And lo and behold, it's not the host, but one of the phantoms is hanging back here. And this guy was the most competent out of the lot of them. I feel he was doing staggered R once with his straight sword, and he knew what was up. So it's just a case of like, I need to give this invader room to work with because I know he is pretty competent. So if I can just keep one of them distracted, that would be a great help to him. So I'm trying to keep on this straight sword guy because I know he's the most dangerous. straight sword hell. And so Hercules runs back to the bonfire room, and he, well, you know, not a bad strategy. Obviously, he was surrounded by all that PvE, so you don't want to fight two invaders in there. So he comes back to the bonfire room. It's just a case of trying to chase him down. So I'll go to me left-hand straight sword, because that's, you know, I can do some good roll catches with that. But unfortunately, Hercules decides that this is a little too much for him, so he bolts. I had no idea what he was going for. He just runs and runs and runs. I presume he was trying to use the twists and turns in the levels to try and lose us, and it almost works actually. So we almost run past him here, and I notice him. He's ducked into this little side area. So that was quite a clever tactic. You see, I've gone over to Dark Drift here, so I could try and get running arm on pokies on him whilst he was running away. Stop that chug, and then splat. Oh dear, mate. GG. So anyway, that's another Dark Souls 3 build video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying this character. I'll see you again next time.